I also have this on audiobook. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelsey. We're about to get very, very nerdy with my July TBR. So I'm not going to lie to you. I am honestly terrified for July just because I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't have a lot going on in July as far as like there's no readathons or anything that I'm participating in, but we do have a family vacation that is planned this month. There's also a week where my husband has a conference, so I will be single parenting for about a week. And so I just feel like there's a lot in July where my time will not be available to read. And because of that, I have this suspicious feeling the basket is going to be extra mean to me. So I'm honestly terrified for July. Either way, I don't know what July's going to hold. So this is probably the most tentative TBR I've ever made. And a lot of them are tentative this year. Like, I don't think I've completed a single TBR all the way through. Maybe one. Maybe. Either way. That's my little rambly thoughts. Grab a nice beverage of choice. Mine is coffee. And let's dive in to see how I did last month. Spoiler, I moved a lot of things around. The first prompt for June was a cozy read, which of course is a strange thing to do in summer. I originally picked The Switch by Beth O'Leary, but I have replaced that with Cold Hearted Rake by Lisa Kleypas, which is the first in the Ravenels series. In Squad Goals book with a good friendship, I originally picked the third in the Cockanian series, Saving Verico, but I've switched this out with a volume of Cherry Magic. I think the one I chose for this one was Fox. Specifically. Enemies to Lovers, we had Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. Next was Read a Mystery or Thriller, which I picked The Secret Book of Flora Lee by Patty Callahan Henry. A Goodreads TBR, which was a random generated thing, I got Feybound, and this is by Sarah Al-Arifi. A book that you don't know much about, I chose Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. A book with a tagline, I chose Wayward by Amelia Hart. The next was to read a mass market paperback. I chose this Lorraine Heath book, which is The Counterfeit Scandal, the first in the Chessman series that I'm reading for a buddy read. And the last book was a book by your favorite author. I chose The Paradise Problem by Christopher Lauren, but I have changed that one to the 6th volume of Cherry Magic. I read a lot of Cherry Magic in June. So looking at this list, like I said, I did some switching around. So of the books that I haven't read, okay, so I never got around to Feybound, unfortunately, so that's going back on the TBR. And I didn't get around to Wayward or The Paradise Problem, but you're going to see these again soon. But otherwise, I think everything else I completed or I finished, or like I moved some stuff around to make it work. So I had a relatively successful month. But again, like I said, I read a lot of Cherry Magic. Like I just got in the vibe and I read like 3 or 4 volumes, I think, this month. I was just kind of obsessed. So that is a look at June. So let's see what July has in store. I mentioned I'm terrified because I'm a little bit terrified. Pick number 1. Read the longest book on your TBR. Okay, the first book is to read a book, or the biggest book on your TBR. So I went on Goodreads, and I searched through, and I'm tweaking this one by a lot because the biggest book on my TBR is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, the last book in, or at least the last published book in the Crescent City series. And I'm terrified of that book, but I'm also just not in the mood for it. And I love that series, so I want to be in the mood for that. So I kind of did some skimming, and there's a lot of books that were like third or fourth in a series, or I hadn't reached that point yet. So the one that I am choosing is another large book, but it's hopefully for a vlog that I'm going to be able to do, and that is Beautiful Nightmares, and this is by KJ Sutton. It is very long. I do have the audiobook and I do have the ebook, so this is one that I can probably take with me. I don't plan on taking any physical books with me when we go on vacation, but I do plan on having my Kindle, and so maybe this is one that I can read on my Kindle that way. I am terrified of this one because it's huge. First off, I've loved this series. This is just the biggest book in it, and it is 715 pages. So it's not small by any stretch of the imagination. Also, I put a lot of time between this one and the third one, and honestly, not on purpose, but also a little bit on purpose because I don't love what I think the future of this romance is going to be, and I'm a little terrified about that. I'd have no proof. I just have people talking about it, and based on what they said and their very vague explanation, I have a feeling I know how this is going to end, and I'm not loving that. So well, we'll see. We'll see. I still have 2 books after this one. That's the end. So I'm over halfway through the series. This is the biggest one. So this book is the 4th book in the Fortuna Sworn series, which is a series that follows our main character, Fortuna, and she's a nightmare, which basically means she has the power to figure out what your biggest fear is and use it against you. And the book starts where 2 years before the book starts, her brother goes missing, and everyone assumes that he is dead, and she refuses to believe that. And she comes across this Fey man who basically says, I kind of know what happened. I can help you find some answers, but you gotta marry me. And she goes, fine, okay. And so they get married, and it's obviously more than that. There's a lot of fantastical creatures and things in this story, and I've really enjoyed where it's gone. There's definitely a lot of conversations about trauma, specifically the 3rd book, and things like that. But like, there's a lot with her, and it's been rough, and I think it's just going to get rougher. Honestly, either way, I love the writing style. I love the characters in the series. I've fallen in love with them, so I'm really hoping this is the month that we get to this one because that's been on a ridiculous amount of TBRs. Number 2. Read a book inspired by history. The next one is a book inspired by history, which is where Wayward's going to come back into the picture. This one is not super long, but it takes place in 3 different time periods. We have 2019, 1619, and 1942. And in 1942, it specifically says that it's World War II. So obviously that's historical. It's based on history. I also think the first time period, not the oldest time period, is about the time of the Salem witch trials, and so I think that might play a part in it. I have no proof on that quite yet, but either way, there's definitely parts of the story that have been, I think history is going to play a part in it. So I'm very interested in this. I didn't get around to it in June, unfortunately, but I am excited to see where we go, or like what this book is all about. It basically follows 3 different time periods, like I mentioned, and 3 different women who happen to be living in the same cabin. And I don't know the connection between them. I don't know if like the present day is going to find things that explain some stuff that happens in the past. It feels almost like it could be magical. We'll see, but I'm hoping to get to this one in July because it is on my summer TBR, and I'm very interested in it. I just ran out of time in June. Number 3. Read a book you're scared to read. The next one is a book that you're scared to read, which I decided to put another chunker on this list. I don't know what is wrong with me. But here we are, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. So this is the first in a series of 4 books. It's been a while since I've looked into what this book is about, but it basically follows Ox. It says, Ox was 12 when his father taught him one lesson. Ox wasn't worth anything and people would never understand him. Then he left. Ox was 16 when the energetic Bennett family moved in next door, harboring a secret that would change him forever. With a family of shapeshifters who can transform into wolves at will. And I think it's a relationship between them. I know there's a time jump, like something happens and they kind of lose touch, and then I believe the Bennett family comes back into the picture. I'm very interested in this. I love TJ Klune's writing style. The reason I specifically put this one on this list is going to be a little silly, but it's because, first off, it's absolutely stunning. I have the Waterstones edition, but the US has these covers, but this book is so much bigger than my other TJ Klune books, and so I'm trying to decide if I need to invest, if I can make, like, if I'm going to love this book, and I should invest in all 4 just the same size as the ones that previously, like the other ones I have, or if I'm not going to love it and then I can unhaul this and it won't matter. It's all based on shelf space and size, which might be a little silly. I love his stuff, and I have a feeling I'm going to love this one. I just want to prove it to myself so I don't invest in the rest of the series. You know what I mean? Unless I know I love it. Also, I read Bride last month, and I'm really in like that vibe. I really enjoyed it, so I know it's going to be totally different, but another shape-shifting werewolf style story in the lovely TJ Klune's fantastic way of telling stories. I think it's going to be really good. So it is huge. It's a chunker. Also, why is this here? It's permanently on there, and that's driving me nuts. We'll see. I don't know. I'm hopeful. Number 4. Oh, my most recent purchase. All right, the next one is your most recent purchase, which is very convenient because just a few, like last week, I picked up a physical copy of Swept Away by Beth O'Leary because I do have an e-arc of this. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and I know I'm only a few chapters in, and I already love her writing for this story. I've loved all her other stuff that I've read. I needed to pick it up at some point. This cover is stunning. I just need to get to it because I've loved it so far. And also it gives me those summer vibes. It follows our main two characters, Zeke and Lexi, who basically end up having a one-night stand on a boat. And that boat somehow in the middle of the night does not get anchored correctly and goes out into the sea. And so they're kind of stranded. And so this thing that they thought was just going to be a very quick thing turns into a not so quick thing. And it's more than that. Like, it's going to be their romance. It's going to be them figuring things out. But it sounds interesting. It sounds just like her fun writing style where she makes you fall for someone. And so that's my most recent purchase as of filming this. Number 5. Read a Jane Austen related book. So the next one is to read a book inspired by Jane Austen. So this one is technically not a book, but it's on Audible. And that is Mrs. Wickham, and this is by Sarah Page. This is like a 2-hour audiobook where you basically get a look at Lydia Bennet after she marries Mr. Wickham and kind of her next steps, what happens. Because when I've read some different adaptions and reimaginings of other characters within the series, Lydia's always, she didn't do so great in Pride and Prejudice either, but she always kind of gets shafted in these books, and I'm curious to see if she is going to, what this is going to be. Like I said, it's only like 2.5 hours. It's super short. It's more of like a novella than anything else, but it's only on Audible. I don't think there's a physical copy of this anywhere. So we're going to put this in because I just wasn't feeling any of my other Jane Austen inspired books at the moment. And this one I think will be short and easy, and I have had it on my TBR for a while, so we're gonna see what it's about. Number 6. Oh dear. Read a paperback. All right, the next is to read a paperback, and this is where the Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren comes into play. I really want to get to this one this summer. It's going to happen. If it's not this month, it's going to be next month. I'm going to keep putting it on TBRs until it happens. We follow our main characters, Anna and West, who basically get married in college because they want to have access to subsidized family housing while they're at UCLA. She thought that she signed the divorce papers. He may or may not have filed them because he is an heir to like a food conglomerate, but in order to get his inheritance, he has to be happily married for 5 years, and so it's only been 3, I think, and so he pretends they're still married and keeps them legally married, and she thinks that she's done and moved on, and then his family basically insists him that he brings his wife on this vacation, and so he has to go get her and have her play this role. It sounds very interesting. I love their stuff. This is their most recent book. It's beautiful, very summery. I'm excited. Number 7. We'll read a 5-star prediction. Next one is to read a 5-star prediction, and that one I'm going to put in The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. This is the second book in the HMRC series. One of these days I'm going to get around to it. We'll see if this is the time. It is a story, at least the first book is a story that follows these 4 women who were all kind of grew up together, but they're all witches in this society, and they've gone their separate ways. And it really follows 2 of them, but one of them who is kind of the one running the show. And they get this prophecy that there's going to be a kid who is going to bring the downfall, and she thinks that she's found this kid, and so she gets this other woman to kind of try to train this kid. And it's way more than that. There's a lot of conversation about trans rights in this, at least in the first book, and it ended on such a cliffhanger. And I know I always say that, and I cannot believe I haven't started it. I think what happened is I read the novella that Juno Dawson wrote in this series, Anne B, I think is what it was called, and it was fine. I just didn't really feel like it was needed, so I think that put this on pause a little bit. But I have loved the first one, so I'm really hoping to get to this one. It's definitely more witchy than summery, so we'll see if I get around to this one. I'm not sure, but this is the vibe. We're gonna start reading some of the spooky books, because I feel like I have a lot of those and very little other things. I have a lot of things that I save for the fall, and then I don't get around to them. So we'll see. And number 8. Oh, where to go? Next. This is a seasonal cover. And the last one is a seasonal cover. So obviously I'm going to go with Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood. This is the second in the Not in Love series. It takes place in Italy, I think? Sicily. So it basically follows our main character, Maya, who is the sister of the main character, the main male lead in Not in Love, and his best friend. And she's had a crush on him, and he hasn't really done anything about it. And it was just kind of a silly behind the scenes thing in the previous book. And this one, I didn't realize it was going to be an actual thing. And so I'm very interested to see about this, because it's, sister, best friends, brother's best friend, that kind of vibe. There's definitely an age gap, so there's that as well. I love Allie Hazelwood. I'm going to read everything Allie Hazelwood writes. This is her most recent book. I did enjoy the first one, so we're going to give this one a shot and see what happens. Plus, I read Bride last month, so I'm in an Allie Hazelwood zone mood. And then a couple other things that I wasn't able to get into my TBR that I need to read. We have One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware, which is my book club book, as well as a murder mystery. It basically follows these 5 couples on a game show of sorts on an island. And our main character, Lila, goes with her boyfriend, Nico. And then some strange stuff happens. They get disconnected from the crew. They're kind of stranded on this island. I don't know if people start to die or not. The synopsis doesn't say, but some interesting things happen. I love the book that I read by Ruth Ware. This has been on my TBR for a while. It feels perfect for the summer because it's mystery, but it's also set on an island, so it's kind of tropical. But that is my book club book that I need to read. I also wasn't able to fit in the Lorraine Keith book that we're reading, which is obviously the second book in the Chessman series, which is The Notorious Mr. Knightley. Basically, the series follows, there's the chessmen are 4 men, and one of them was in a previous series by Lorraine Heath. And so this series follows the other 3. This one follows Knight. In this book, we follow our main 2 characters, who is obviously Knightley, and this woman named Regina, who left him at the altar many years ago. And there's this scandalous book by an anonymous author who has taken London by storm, and everyone assumes that it's this Lord Kay, this Mr. Knightley. The back makes me think that it's actually her who's done it. So the Latan is after kind of both of them for different reasons, and so they pretend to reconcile to salvage their relationships and their reputations, and this false friendship soon turns to powerful passion. I love it. Fake dating. Yes, please, give me all the things. I guess it's not fake dating, it's more fake friendship, but it's same thing. And then the final book that I need to read is for the Ravenel's Readathon that I am doing with my friend Taylor. I'll put the announcement video down below. The woman who's doing it's a bigger thing, but the 2 of us are making sure that we're reading it together. She's read the series, and I have not. And so we read Cold Hearted Rake last month, and I loved it. And so the next one is Marrying Winterbone, and I am beyond excited about it. Like I need it. Like the minute I finished the last book, I wanted to pick this one up, but I had other things that I had to do. But I like wanted to pick this up. So I'm loving it so far. It's a series of 7 books, I think, and it all follows this family called the Ravenels, and so it's different people within the family. And so in the first book, this guy inherits a new title, and so with that, he's a Ravenel, and he inherits basically the charge of a bunch of stuff, and the widow of his cousin, who was, I think it's the Duke before him, and then her 3 sisters-in-law. So clearly, all of them are going to have a story. He has a brother as well that plays a big part, so he's going to have a story. I think there's a cousin that we met in the first book that's going to play a part in it as well. So we'll see. But every one of these stories follows a different couple. It's kind of one of those like Bridgerton style stories where it's an entire family and you just follow a different person in it. So I loved it. I cannot wait for this one. I have a suspicious feeling this one's going to be my favorite because I kind of did a little deep digging to see who all the books follow. And based on how the last one ended and just the people that I like in the story, I think this one might be my favorite. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm very excited about it. Otherwise, I think that's it. I need to fit a manga in, so I'm sure I'll read another Cherry Magic at some point. But that's it. That is everything on my list. So it's a big TBR. It's a little bit of a crazy TBR. I don't expect to read half of these, honestly. If I do, it'll be a miracle. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Pray for me. I don't know. But just the stack is already stressing me out. So that is my July TBR. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But if you've read any of the books that I mentioned, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. Or if there's something that you would like to read in the month of July, let me know some of the books that you are planning on reading for July. And if you want to leave a comment but you're not sure what to comment, ooh, I think there's one. Comment a wolf emoji? I feel like there's a wolf emoji. Or a moon. A wolf or a moon. There we go. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links. So check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!